Hello everybody, this is Bitcoin Macro, and in this video I'm gonna be talking about DeFi coins mainly. Yesterday I promised I'm gonna do small caps. I'm not gonna do small caps, guys, because there are a lot more things that I want to cover. Talk a bit about Coinbase, talk a bit about DeFi stuff, because there are some things that I want to mention before I move forward. And I'm probably gonna mention some of the smaller stuff when I think that the larger ones are kind of done, because right now we've seen smaller stuff pull back quite a bit, even today and over the last week in general. So I don't want to tell you guys to just look at small stuff when the action is elsewhere at the moment. Because, even with the big money that's going on in Coinbase, in and out, that's creating a bit of a situation where smaller stuff are on the back seat for a bit. Okay, I'm not clearly there will be stuff that do well, but if it's not the majority that do well, like they were doing the previous 2 months, let's say, then potentially you should be a bit more careful. And that's why I don't want to get into that category right now. There's tons of things to cover for DeFi as well. If I could talk for hours. I'm just limiting myself to 15 minutes so that it can be good for you and it can be good for me as well. But before I move into all that stuff, guys, please subscribe, like the video, come join my channel, come join CryptoCube, visit cryptocube.io, where you can find excellent coaches like myself. So again, if you want to get informed and be able to do your own technical analysis and your own in general analysis, fundamental, or whatever you like, you can hire me as your coach and I can help you. So let's get straight into it. First coin that I'm looking at is Uniswap, and I've got to say that I quite like Uniswap right now. I think this is looking like a massive cup and handle. Pretty double bottom right here, that was very clean, very nice. The 50-day moving average is acting very nicely. Now it held the support here, broke a bit, and then turned into support again. And when I see this sort of thing, like a certain area get tested so many times, and I include this, maybe I could just take this as the main line of resistance, as the market was not able to close above these levels even here. And when it closed above this, it was just a trap. I think that once it goes above this level, it's going to get very explosive. And I could just say that potentially you could be buying Uniswap right now. I'm not sure what's going to happen with BNB and Coinbase right now, because I actually do believe that BNB, the market cap of BNB being close to the market cap of Coinbase, is fair to an extent, because for reasons I explained the first video, Coinbase has a premium right now because it's the main exchange that's out there, but Binance is a lot bigger. It's a global exchange. BNB has more use cases than Coinbase, like the shares of Coinbase do have. And that's why I just believe that it's fair to say that they could be on par for now. But that does leave room for some decentralized exchanges like Uniswap to grow a bit. Okay, and especially stuff that are on Coinbase, and it's DeFi on Coinbase, which I think some people are going to be buying as well with their profits. So I do believe that there is a potential for for people that have been selling the Coinbase shares to get into DeFi and all that stuff. So that's a pretty good setup. Even buying now, it's pretty solid. I wouldn't say anything else other than that. So next one, I'm just going to talk about AAVE, because I mentioned that yesterday. It's still on the 50-day moving average, but we've seen some pretty big days right here. So I am willing to just say that it's looking better right now. This support has held, and I'm going to mention a few coins that do look a bit like this. Clearly, it's not above the September highs, which is a bit tricky. But in my opinion, if it breaks this, which is very likely right now because of this pretty nice engulfing candle, we could see it go higher. Now, I'm not the biggest fan. This moving indicator has held now the 50-day moving average. 50-day moving average is trending down a bit, but it's slowly curving and it's about to reverse. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start closing above those levels. and, you know, potentially form a mini uptrend where we could go up to here, which was the key breakdown level. If you pay attention like to this, I think we could easily come up here. Not the prettiest chart, I've got to say. Look, many of these things could go up, okay? But I don't know if they are the optimal things to trade. That's why I mentioned it before as well. But because DeFi has been lagging so much, I do feel like with the lower Ethereum fees, plus a lot of these things are being listed on Coinbase, and many people just getting attracted into Coinbase, they could actually pump a bit more than other stuff. So for example, XRP and TRX are not on Coinbase, so eventually maybe these take a bit of a backseat for a bit because they're not on the major US exchange, which is Coinbase. Now, clearly a lot of stuff are seeing growth, but the token price has not appreciated. Potentially Compound is one of them, and I think it's a pretty safe bet right here because it has those dodges. And you might be asking yourself, like, why is he showing us all those BTC charts? And that's because there is history, guys. Okay, some of the other stuff are just near all-time highs, and I don't get any extra information from them because if you pay attention, like pretty much most of the stuff are in all-time highs. Most of the stuff in USD, they look good because Bitcoin also looks good. Like if Bitcoin is at all-time highs, like what would you expect from an altcoin to look like? I mean, clearly some of them will be different, especially the ones that have pumped really hard. But otherwise, I do believe that, you know, some of these charts are better in BTC terms. And I'm going to look at some of them in USD terms as well, by the way. So again, here I see Compound slowly about to break the 50-day moving average. I think it's going to move higher. But again, I don't know how much better it's going to perform. At least, for example, Uniswap has moved a lot. But because of its prestige and the upgrade that's coming, the version 3, it might be a bit ahead of the rest. Okay, this event might be a bit of a catalyst along with the Coinbase IPO because it brings attention to exchange in general, the IPO. Now, I don't know, maybe it stops here, maybe it goes higher. I do believe it can go higher, but for now, I do believe that this pivot, the yearly Fibonacci pivot, is good as a first target. Next one, Maker. And for Maker, I'm just gonna use a different chart, guys. I'm just gonna use a different one. I didn't have this one ready, but to me, it's probably better to look at Maker on CoinTrader Pro because not many exchanges had it listed before this summer. And I also do believe Maker is gonna go higher. It looks very explosive to me right now. Very, very explosive. Because look at the situation with Maker. It did the full cycle, okay? It did pump when Bitcoin was down, actually. It made a new high when Bitcoin was at 4K. Here it was the area where it got listed on several exchanges, and those exchanges didn't really have it prior, Coinbase, Binance, Huobi, etc. And now it's forming this. It has reclaimed this key support, and it's now slowly trending up. And if we look at, let's say, Maker USD, I do believe it's gonna go to new all-time highs here. We had a nice consolidation above the previous all-time highs here. Massive accumulation. That was like the cleanest sideways I've seen in a really, really long time. Also another one that had the perfect cycle right here. Boom, down. Going just straight down to this level, sweeping the low, move up, boom. I think it's gonna go higher. Plus, many of the people that are involved into Coinbase, I think, are a bit involved. Not many, I should say, just Andreessen Horowitz. There are some big investors that were in Coinbase. Maybe they've sold the shares, I don't know. But I do believe that Maker is going to be one of those beneficiaries. Those things that are like companies, they are like DeFi. Look, Maker is like a company. It's run like a company, in a sense. Maybe Compound, we could say the same. Like when you buy those governance tokens, That's essentially what you can say about those things. It's like a company, and they are doing pretty well. I don't know how well they're gonna do. I don't know how they're gonna expand on other chains, but for them to survive, in my opinion, they will expand on layer 2. They will expand. Look, there will be lots of trouble ahead. There will be many bugs. I don't believe in Maker specifically. I think it's a flawed project, but in my opinion, right now, that looks good. And again, things that do resemble companies, exchanges, and all that stuff, and they are listed on Coinbase, like Maker is, I think that's a pretty good bet. Now, another one that I wanted to look at, and I'm gonna move into Link right now. A key DeFi coin. It's just like, you know, these things have been having these bumps here and there, and people, every time I hear the same thing. It's gonna go higher, it's gonna moon, it's like, this was a massive breakout, this is the best thing. But this chart, to me, it doesn't look terrible, but it looks weird and it looks stuck. So it's below the yearly moving average, essentially the 365. It's below the yearly pivot that rejected it, that rejected the price. And essentially, like, it's below, like, that was a bit of support, like this area right here. So we are above this support, like we had a great retest, etc. But like, it just doesn't look like it's trending or anything. Like, if I look at the previous trend, it hasn't even reclaimed the previous trend. Okay, it's still below the previous trend that Link had versus Bitcoin. So I just feel like the smart money exited Link right here when the Link Marines were at the peak over the summer. Now, can it go higher? Clearly, yes. But I just don't feel like it's the best thing you could be buying right now. Let's do Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, actually, I do believe that it kind of has decent prospects right now, oddly enough, because it has underperformed so badly that, in my opinion, it can do well, because it has formed this odd, I don't want to say that it's a double bottom, but it's just, it's something. I don't know what that is, but it's a bit of a round bottom, maybe a bit of a mini head and shoulders in this area right here, if I can say that it's that. I could potentially say this, yes. It's above the 50-day moving average, which is good, which is also flat, and it's about to turn up. It hasn't hit any key resistance so far, and it's just been suppressed for a really long time. And if I just look at Wi-Fi in USD terms, and it's one of those projects that has kept growing and growing, and I do believe that this time around this thing could explode, because that was a bit of a trap. But now, this time around, closing above the September all-time high when it got listed on Coinbase, I think that's a pretty good indication that it's gonna move much higher from here. I do believe that it's a decent one. Whereas Link is in a similar situation, I think, with the USD chart, but it's just like, when I see this, I'm just not excited, because Link came above the all-time high earlier, but it just didn't do anything. And now just going to a new all-time high, why would it be any different from this situation right here? Sorry, the early 2021. I don't know why would it be different. So I do like Wi-Fi, because it has underperformed, but it's a massive project. I do like Compound a bit, I do like Maker, I do like those stuff. And I would also say Sushi does look good, guys, to an extent at least. And I do have a bit more of a fundamental case for Sushi. It doesn't look good. Okay, it doesn't look good, but I do believe that Sushi could be coming higher. Potentially, yes, because it has been listed on Coinbase and it fell substantially. Maybe that's a big indicator. It hit that key resistance from the massive breakout. Like the minute it came back to the breakdown zone, the massive candle down, when there was all the FUD and everything about sushi, when it came back to that level, it dropped, and it's now below the 50-day moving average. But if it starts closing above, maybe after the version 3 of Uniswap is out, then it's time to pay attention. Maybe not right now. Same for AAVE, maybe they are not exactly ready, but I would be paying attention. And maybe same for Chainlink. But if I would choose among 3 that I do believe that they are a bit safer as well, I would say Wi-Fi, Maker, Compound. At least in the short term, they can provide some quick returns. Okay, they can give you some quick and safe returns, safe as it gets in crypto, because the charts are clean. I think they're showing some strength and all that. And the other 2 coins that I wanted to mention, and I'm gonna mention it briefly because I'm over the limit of 15 minutes. The one is AVAX, which I think has a big potential to grow. It has closed above this key resistance zone, the big breakout zone. It's above the yearly pivot, above the 50-day moving average, and it's looking pretty good. And if I could compare it to one coin which I also think can do well, that's EGLD. And that also had a bit of a similar chart right here. I think AAVE is slowly trying to look like this, but it just doesn't look as great yet. But for example, I do believe that AVAX could pull something like this. I think it would be pretty easy. And finally, the last coin that I'm gonna mention is STX BTC, which I think it's a coin that people should be looking at because it's gonna get listed on Coinbase at some point. It has had this massive base right here, massive pump, pullback. Maybe it does come back down here and then higher. Okay, so this is another one to watch. That's a layer 1 that has nothing to do with DeFi. AVAX maybe does have to do with DeFi, but it's a layer 1 as well, as far as I know. So that's my time for today, guys. I try to cover as many coins as possible. These are my opinions and my opinions alone that do not represent anyone else. But again, it's just like simple stuff that I see right now. Maybe my opinion changes, and that's why I just say follow me and we can see what's hot. So thanks a lot for your time, and I'll see you on the next one.